So in this video, I'm going to compare Bitcoin and AI, and here you see the what I call the Bitcoin mountain. Bitcoin is currently priced at over $90,000 US, and it's great for Bitcoin investors who are climbing this hill. They're true believers, and I think that they took a chance on Bitcoin, and it paid off, especially with Trump coming to power and more institutions and countries are adopting Bitcoin. So it's most likely going to be the reserve of the future, or at least a very important asset. I think it's probably going to go to $1 million. So it's great for all these people. But I think that the danger or the risk for Bitcoin investors who are too focused on Bitcoin is to ignore what's currently happening in the world of artificial intelligence. And my bet is that AI is going to be phenomenally powerful in empowering people to become rich, even richer than Bitcoin investors. AI is not just an asset, and I'll explain later on what I mean, but it's a very powerful platform that people can use. So we have to zoom out and understand what AI is all about. So here, if you zoom out and you leave Bitcoin behind, I mean, you can still watch what's going on with Bitcoin, of course, because it's a big investment for many people. I have a friend who went from 500,000 to $1 million in net worth because of Bitcoin. But it's important to zoom out and see what else is going on. And I think that AI is the greatest technological development of our times. It's bigger and more powerful and more democratic. I'll explain that later on, what I mean by democratization, than Bitcoin or any traditional asset. So here we zoom out and we see that there's another mountain that people are climbing. You see someone here, you see someone here, and these are companies and individuals who are climbing this mountain. I say climbing because here on Bitcoin, you don't really have to climb, unless you're a Bitcoin or blockchain developer. You're really just sitting on your Bitcoin holdings. But here on the AI mountain, you have to invest time and effort. So here you don't really have to invest money unless you're an AI startup or an AI investor. You're really investing intellectually, your time, your energy, your attention. And you have to make an intellectual effort to understand AI because it's as technical or perhaps more technical than Bitcoin. So you have to learn what AI is all about. We see more and more people climbing the AI mountain, and this is the artificial intelligence mountain. And you can see this is just a visual approximation, but you can see that the AI mountain is far bigger than the Bitcoin. Now, I said that Bitcoin is technical and you have to understand basically how it works. You don't have to become a Bitcoin developer or blockchain coder, but you have to understand how it relates to the money printing fiat currency, why it's logical that it's going to increase in value. But you don't have to understand it to such an extent that you can actually program in, blockchain or smart contracts in Ethereum. You just have to understand, like Michael Saylor says, that you have to watch at least 100 hours of video content on Bitcoin to fully understand its value, and then you will invest in it. With artificial intelligence, I think that you have to spend more than 100 hours to learn what it's all about, because it's not just understanding AI. You have to actually implement AI projects in order to be successful. And later on in future slides, I'll show you how you can learn technically and implement AI projects technically to create value and to market that value. So there's only two things you need to do with AI. I mean, this mountain sounds complex, but you just have to create products and you have to use AI to sell those products. Not services. You could, but it's not scalable. Now, there are exceptions. You can create a service or a kind of platform like Uber where people are providing a service, but that's too complicated. I think that most people are better off creating a product with AI and market that product with AI. So here we see the AI mountain, and actually there's a limit here, but actually this AI mountain is going to go on and it's never going to stop. Now, I'm going to introduce a new idea here that very few people are aware of, and um, feel free to tell me what you think. But I think that the new money has two sides, and these two sides are correlated. So on one side, you have value, and this is what we call the real economy, where you're creating real value. Think of people like Steve Jobs, who turned down, at least for 2 weeks, he turned down an investment proposal from the self-made billionaire Ross Perot when he created Next. He knew he could create a lot of value, even though after he was ousted from Apple and he started his next company, he didn't have an office, he didn't have employees, he didn't have investors. He just had a logo that cost him, I think, something like $5,000 to $8,000. So he really cared about his logo for his non-existent company. So anyways, the story is that Ross Perot called him because Ross Perot missed out on investing in another young man who became very rich, named Bill Gates. So Ross Perot wanted to invest in Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs waited for 2 weeks before he called him back, because Steve Jobs understood that he could create value. Ross Perot has the currency, but cannot create currency out of nothing. Only the Federal Reserve or central banks can do that. But Steve Jobs and people like him, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they can create value, and therefore, they can make a lot of money. So my point here is that you want to concentrate on using artificial intelligence in all of its forms, to create value. And then your currency, your net worth, your bank account will reflect the amount of value that you create. But I think too many people focus on currency. Like when we start out, even as teenagers, I started working when I was, I think, 16. We just find a job and we do whatever the boss requires and we get a paycheck. So we focus on currency. Where's my paycheck? When is my paycheck coming? The currency. What are the prices of my assets in NASDAQ or Bitcoin or Tesla? Which is fine. You focus on the currency. But the problem is that when you focus on currency or the prices of your assets, whether it's real estate or Bitcoin or Ethereum or government bonds or long-term deposit, whatever you're focused on, you're not in control. You're always waiting for somebody to push the value of your assets, to push the prices up, but you're not in control of your value. Even when you have a job, you can work as hard as you can. You can do overtime and be very ingenious, but guess what? Your paycheck is always the same. So this is the side where you don't have control. So you want to be on the left-hand side where you are in control, where you can create value, and therefore you can make as much money as you want. It's almost like as if you're printing money, but of course you're just printing and producing value. And then through marketing, commercialization, salesmanship, you can translate that value into currency. But if you operate on this side, you use your right brain, your left brain, all your energy, ingenuity, imagination, creativity to create value, then you're never going to have a money problem. This is something I realized in 2011, and I even wrote a paper called The Theory of Unlimited Money. I'll explain it later on. But the theory of unlimited money, and I'm talking about new money, means that as long as you create value independently, without needing an employer, you're going to be fine financially. So I've been quite fine financially since 2011. I quit my $80 an hour job teaching position in January 2023 after I played with ChatGPT for 2 weeks. But even without ChatGPT, even without AI, I'm fine financially, because I know the secret for creating value. And I'll talk later on about the 5 basic ways to create value. And most people know only one way out of 5. I've experimented and have succeeded in the 5 ways of making money by creating value. And by the way, when we talk about making money, when you have a job, you're not making money. You're costing money. Because when you have a job, your employer makes money. Your boss doesn't make money, your immediate supervisor, but your employer organization that signs your check, they make money because they're serving customers and the customers pay them. Okay? You're not making money because you're a salaried employee. your salary is a cost item on the income statement of the employer organization. So you're costing money, and as soon as the employer finds a way to use AI or software or expert systems to eliminate your job, they will do it. It's not personal, it's business. So don't think that because you have a job you're making money. No, you're costing money. In the grand scheme of things, you're costing money, and therefore, your job is basically a ticking time bomb. I'm sorry to say it so bluntly, but your job is a ticking time bomb, and it's going to explode at one point. So you want to learn how to use artificial intelligence to create value independently of any employer, and you can market that value on the internet. The currency side is simply a scorecard. It reflects the value that you've created and that you've distributed in the marketplace. So the currency is not where you should focus on. In the same way that if you're playing a game of basketball or tennis or hockey, you don't stare at the scoreboard. I mean, when you've scored, right? Sometimes you look at the scoreboard to know where you are. And if your score is not increasing, then your performance has to improve. You have to practice. You have to get a coach, whether it's tennis, basketball, etc. You need to get a coach because you're not objective about your performance. You need to get a coach. And AI, by the way, can also be your coach or a semi-coach that can give you objective feedback on your performance and help you to improve. But my point is that you don't spend your days at work looking at the scorecard, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of investors are making. Employees don't look at the scorecard, but that's because they know that their salary, their paycheck is always the same. But in any case, employees the good ones, they look at their performance and they're always trying to improve, because if they perform really, really well, then they have evidence to convince their boss to give them a raise. Otherwise, they can move to another employer organization. That's why, like in 1999, I tracked my performance. I had generated over about $100,000 in revenue, and I had the accounting reports to prove that. And therefore, if I had to quit my job at the time, I could go to another employer organization and show them, look, within 4 months, I was able to create $100,000 in revenue. And if they look at my chart, it was growing almost like exponentially. So I had the evidence to support my claim that I'm actually making money for my employer. But in any case, you want to be in control. The people here, the investors, are kind of making a mistake because they're very smart, but they're focusing on the scoreboard, and they have no control. Now, of course, they know this, and that's why they're tracking the different players, and they're investing in Nvidia, Tesla, Apple. They're trying to put their money where the money is going to work for them. So that is very smart. But I think that they can also focus on artificial intelligence and adopt a new way of thinking so that they can create value and monetize that value, and therefore they're going to make more money, and they can invest that money into Bitcoin or whatever. So this video is really meant to show you that the new money is made up of two sides. One side you have value, the other side you have currency, and you should really focus on that side, because even if you have Bitcoin, I have Bitcoin in my portfolio. I don't track it every day. I know it's going to grow in value. I'm a long-term investor. I have Ethereum also. I focus more on AI. I focus on creating software products and businesses that can create massive value for me and that are scalable, because I know that the currency side, the scoreboard, is going to be fine. It's going to reflect really what I'm doing here in the long term. I might not make a lot of money now with AI, but I'm developing the capabilities to create value and scale it exponentially all over the world. So it's important to here, if you're an entrepreneur, you gotta invest time and some money. You don't have to invest a lot of money, but some time and a lot of intellectual energy into understanding AI. A lot of people, most people in fact, are not investing time and energy and attention into AI, and they're going to be losing out, because my hypothesis is that AI in 2024 is Bitcoin in 2014. So you're very early here, if you're investing in AI, and you're going to earn substantial rewards. But you might be a little bit late, not that late, in Bitcoin, because the time to invest was 2014, when it was worth a few $100s, from $300 to $700. At the time, it was very volatile. But so if you had invested in Bitcoin in 2014, you would have had a 100x return today. So in the same manner, if you invest some time and some money here in artificial intelligence, in a few years you're going to be facing a 100x return on your investment. So it's very important to be early. Now, at some point, obviously, after AGI is here, probably in 2030, everyone is going to be able to create a lot of money. But that's not where the big money is going to be made. The big money is in the next 2 to 3 years. I don't even say 5, I say 2 to 3 years. The big money is going to be made when people are trying to learn about AI, how to use AI. They're going to create AI tools. This is, the next 2 years are going to be extremely critical. 2025 and 2026 is really where you have the opportunity to create massive value. After 2026, everyone is going to have extremely powerful AI systems and AI agents, and it's just going to be too late for you to make money. You're still going to be fine financially, but that's not where the big bucks are. That's not where you're going to be able to become like a multi-millionaire or even a billionaire. Like, my bet is that at the end of 2026, I'm going to be a billionaire. In other words, having a net worth of at least $1 billion Canadian. So let's get into the actual technical stuff. And so here we have the artificial intelligence mountain, and these 5 phases don't come from me. They come from Sam Altman, and obviously he has a window to secrets about AI that nobody has. He understands the research, he understands what's coming. And whether you like or dislike Sam Altman, whether you believe he's honest or dishonest, you can't really doubt his ability and his vision. I mean, so far he has been quite correct, and I would even go further. And he admits it himself, he and other experts in the field were not able to predict the super rapid adoption of ChatGPT since December 2022. So, like, this might not even be accurate. The truth might be even more scarier than the 5 phases that we see here. So basically, Sam was saying that chatbots, ChatGPT especially, was the first in December 2022 to be democratized. So everyone has access to chatbots these days, and not just ChatGPT, but Claude and Gemini and other large language models. And then OpenAI came with the O1 model, which could reason, it could analyze, could plan, it could think about what it's thinking about, it could correct its own output. So this is very powerful. It's a second phase. Chatbots could only answer questions, or it could only generate content. And then the third phase, which is gonna come in 2025, this is where we have AI agents that are autonomous, and you can release them online. Mark Zuckerberg from Meta talks about how you can create agents in Facebook that will perform work for you autonomously even while you're sleeping. Satya Nadella from Microsoft says that it's going to be as easy to create an AI agent as it is to create a new Word document or a new Excel document. So agents are going to be extremely powerful. It's like as if you had an army of employees working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we know that Microsoft even has AI that can do what they call screen understanding. They can actually read everything that's on your screen, and they understand what's going on, what you're trying to do, and it's going to propose something, or it's going to do something. So that's AI agents, and they're coming in 2025. So that's going to be a critical year. You want to prepare for that, and I'll talk more about how you can prepare. The next level is AI that can actually do scientific discovery But that's not the concern for most people. We're not into science. We're not researchers. The concern is that can AI create new products for you and me so that we can sell those products. And the next phase is logical AI that can create entire new businesses or organizations or nonprofits or social ventures. And these businesses that AI is building will promote and market your products that you developed here. I'm currently at this level, but I don't have an AI. I have machine learning or deep learning type. I'm developing software programs that semi-automatically will create new businesses for me. This is top secret, so I can't talk about it right now. But I'm currently developing AI systems that create businesses, complete businesses for me: marketing, sales, operations, human resources, everything. And that's why I'm confident that by the end of 2026, I'm going to have a net worth of over $1 billion Canadian, because I can use my AI systems to create multiple businesses. I'm aiming to create 500 startup businesses. Now, I'm not saying 500 cash flow positive businesses. I'm saying 500 startups. So I have 500, or I'm heading towards 500 startups or 500 lab experiments. Not really lab. These are market experiments because my products are going to be in real markets. So I don't know which of these 500 startups will succeed, but a few will succeed and will become unicorns worth $1 billion in value. So anyways, that's where I am right now, and I'm not even working in a big tech company like Google or Apple, Amazon, but I can see how I can do this. And I have very, very limited skills in programming, but I can do this. So that's why I believe that this is the future. It's going to come probably around 2026 or at the end of 2025. So this is the timeline and the associated wealth creation level. Here, I'm just going to summarize here. So here in 2025, we'll have agents and a lot of people who are currently not millionaires. They're employees, they're freelancers. They can become millionaires with AI agents. All you have to do is create a product and know clearly what market you're serving, and you're going to be able to program agents who will go out and promote your products and sell it. So these agents will act and learn, and they're going to continually improve your sales funnel, and you can become a millionaire. To become a millionaire, you simply have to have a small business, an online business preferably, and you have to have a product, and you sell that product at any price to consumers or businesses online. So it's not going to be hard for people to become a millionaire. And interestingly, I read in 2007 a book called The Extreme Future by the famous futurist James Canton, who has been advising Washington for many, many years. And he wrote in The Extreme Future, I don't know how he knows this, but he said that by 2025, there's going to be 1 billion millionaires on the planet. Now, we're currently 8 billion people, so I don't know, like 1 billion out of 8 billion are going to be millionaires. And he said, James Canton said that it's because people will become producers, salespeople, and entrepreneurs. And I think he also mentioned investors, but mostly he said that people can create value, they can produce value, and they can sell that value, and they can become entrepreneurs. And that's why we're going to have 1 billion. So if James Canton is right, or even if he's not 100% accurate, let's say not 1 billion, but let's say we have 800 million millionaires. Still, that's a big number, and you want to be among the people who are millionaires. And that is going to happen in 2025. So now is the time to prepare for this. If you miss the boat, you're going to lose a lot of money, a lot of opportunities. And then in 2026, most people will be able to create value easily. The AI will create value for them. And in 2026, 27, we're going to have a lot of people become billionaires. So, but I don't know what's going to go on, what will happen here. I know that a lot of people will become millionaires for the first time in 2025. if they take the time to learn about AI. Because like I said at the beginning, AI is not like Bitcoin. You cannot sit on it and hope that big tech companies are going to make you rich. You have to invest time. If you're a parent, you have to really, I almost feel like it's the moral duty of a parent. I don't want to say moral duty because I don't want to impose anything, but I think that if I were a parent, I would make it a priority to introduce my children to programming, computational thinking, software, computers, computer science, AI. I would introduce them into this world as soon as possible. And of course, I would introduce them into Bitcoin, but this is more exciting because Bitcoin, if you have the money, for crying out loud, invest in Bitcoin. It's a no-brainer. Mark Cuban said you should invest at least 1 or 2% of your net worth in Bitcoin. That sounds good. But, I think parents should really introduce their kids, preferably through video games, because it's fun. And if those video games are social, which is what girls prefer, then introduce social media video games to your daughters. But for boys, I think if you introduce video games, they're going to get into artificial intelligence. So I'm not saying that parents should enroll their children into an AI workshop. That's just too technical. So you got to be smart. Parents know this. You got to have a way to gently introduce AI to your children, and I'm talking about teenagers starting from age 9 or 10, so that they're familiar with the world of AI, the concepts, they're familiar with computational thinking, and they can create massive wealth. I think that if you're a teenager right now, let's say you're 13, 14, you might not get a traditional job by the time you graduate from high school or college. I think that in 3 years or 5 years max, there's not going to be a job anymore. People will create value and they will market their value on the internet. A job is basically like a container of value, and so when you have a job, you're restricted in how much value you create. And if you create more value than your job parameters or your job description, you're losing, because your salary is probably going to be the same. So you don't have any incentive to create more value in your job. So a job is a container. It's a restriction on your income potential. So I think in the future, we're not going to talk about jobs. We're going to talk about value creators and the people who create value with agents here. They can market that value online. They can sell their video courses, their ebooks, their software programs, their video games, which is what I'm doing right now, and they can make a lot of money, so they can become millionaires. So anyways, that's for parents. I'm going to create a Zoom session so I can answer questions from parents. But my overall point in this video is that you got to be aware of this mountain. And like I said, these 5 phases are from Sam Altman. They're not 100% accurate, but I think they're 80% accurate. 80% because Sam is not talking about expert systems, right? He's not talking about, he's really deep into large language models, which is one type of neural networks. And neural network is one type of 5 different AI types that most people don't know. Pedro Domingos wrote a brilliant book. It's the one book that I recommend that is technical but also accessible to lay people. And Professor Pedro Domingos talks about the 5 AI types. And you should really be aware of these 5 AI types to really understand the AI landscape and where the opportunities are. If you just watch the news about large language models like Gemini or Claude from Anthropic and Copilot, you're missing the big picture about AI. So Pedro Domingos' book is The Master Algorithm, and I recommend it to everyone. The other AI books tend to be interesting, like Eric Schmidt and Kai-Fu Lee wrote a book, Superpowers, but they're not really useful. They're not technical enough. Pedro Domingos is an AI professor, so his writing is very sharp, very cutting edge. So that's what I recommend. So here on the right hand side, I talk about what the AI can actually do. So this is more concrete than the mountain. Here it can answer questions and even write reports, essays in detail. It can also write software programs in any language, Python, JavaScript, etc. Here it can reason, it can analyze, it can plan, and this is what we call System 2 thinking. System 2 thinking means that you're thinking about the future. thinking about long range planning. So you're thinking far into the future. Here, it's not about thinking about the future, the past, etc. It's about taking action. So this is what agents are going to be able to do. Here, you're taking action, but in a specific focused manner. You can create a product. So this is where you're literally able to get your AI to print money, because when you create a product, let's say priced at $100, and you're able to sell that product for $100, well, it's almost like being able to print $100 bills. And that's what Bitcoin investors cannot do, by the way. The funny thing is that Bitcoin investors will say that they're fighting against the money printing by the Federal Reserve, but here AI is actually printing money, but it's legit money, because this is the real economy. This is where you're creating real value. And then we have, at this level, you can create new businesses, new platforms, new infrastructures, and you can become a billionaire. And this is feasible. And a lot of people will probably wonder, but they're too polite to tell me, well, Peter, you want to become a billionaire, but that's not possible. Well, it is possible. The question is it probable? So I always tell them this question, do you think that pigs can fly? Of course, they say no. And then I ask them, do you think that pigs can fly if they board a Boeing 747? The answer is yes, because the Boeing 747 is a marvel of engineering, and therefore pigs can fly. So in the same manner, I think that by myself, on my own, I probably would not be able to become a billionaire if AI didn't exist. I could become a multimillionaire with my digital products, with internet, social media, smartphones, etc. But there's no way I can become a billionaire without the help of AI. But with the help of AI, if I learn how to use AI, how to use AI to create new businesses that produce a positive cash flow within a few weeks, there's no reason why I cannot become a billionaire, because at this level, it's like you're able to create businesses that print money, that produce value on a massive scale, and therefore it's almost inevitable that you're going to become a billionaire. But I think most people are not focused on this goal, which is fine. They're focused on becoming a millionaire, and this is what this video is all about. How you can use AI to work for you in the same way that Bitcoin works for people, but here you're actually involved with these agents. You can modify them, you can improve them, you can multiply them. And this is something I want to mention. When you have Bitcoin or any kind of currency or traditional asset class like real estate, gold, cash, government bonds, all these financial instruments are restricted in the sense that you cannot make a copy. And that's what Satoshi Nakamoto, that's his genius. He was able to create digital money that you cannot copy. You cannot, if I send you a Bitcoin, I don't have the Bitcoin anymore. Because on the ledger, the blockchain, it shows that I don't have it. You have it. You have my Bitcoin. I just gave it to you. And so it's good because it protects your value, because the Federal Reserve or any government cannot print that money like the fiat currency, the US dollar. They can print it in Venezuela and other countries. They even print more money so that through inflation, your money loses its purchasing power. So it's good that Bitcoin cannot be double spent. It's what they call the double spend problem. But here, it's even better. If you create value, if you create a product that actually works, you're going to be able to sell it multiple times. And that's, by the way, how Bill Gates became the richest man in the world in the 1990s. His company, Microsoft, spent millions and millions of dollars to create the first copy of Windows 95. But after that, the second copy of Windows 95 would cost a few cents. And after they switched to the internet, it cost even less because they could enable customers to download a copy of Windows 95 from the internet. So they didn't have to do shipping and handling and all of that stuff. So their variable cost is nearly zero. So every time that they sold a copy of Windows for, $97, $96 is pure profit. So you want to be here because this is how billionaires are making money. And by the way, if you want to read about the zero marginal cost, Jeremy Rifkin wrote a great book, The Zero Marginal Cost Society. He explains how society and in the future companies can create products that are digital, and therefore the marginal cost of serving a new customer is zero, meaning that if they have a customer and they charge $100 for the product online, $99 will be a profit. But anyways, that's the opposite of Bitcoin or any currency. You cannot send me you cannot give me $100 bills and still have it. But here, if I give you a copy of my software, I have different software programs. If I sell to you a copy, I still have the original copy, right? I can even empower you to sell your copy of my software, and you can make money. This is what they call the resale rights, right? You can get a copy of my software programs, and I give you the legal right to turn around and resell it at any price, and you pocket 100% of the profit. So I'm going to talk more about the resale rights, but it's extremely powerful. But this brings me to the idea that all of this is wonderful, but you have to develop two kinds of competencies: technical competency in AI. And what I mean by technical competency is that you have to understand basically how it works. You don't have to become an AI researcher or programmer, but you have to have a competency in AI. And basically the idea is that if you can give to your friends on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can give a 1-hour seminar on AI, the different types of AI, how machine learning works, gradient descent, the loss function, AlexNet, image, video generation, prompt engineering. If you can talk for an hour on AI, then you are probably competent about AI, and you're ready to acquire the other critical competency, which is business. And in the same manner, if I give you a business webinar in 1 day or 6 hours, you will know about business enough to give a 1-hour business seminar to your friends on Facebook and LinkedIn, and that will be the proof probably that you know enough about business. But if you cannot talk for an hour on business matters, marketing, sales, copywriting, sales funnels, SEO, content marketing, video marketing, etc., if you cannot spend an hour teaching your friends about business, and you don't even have to do it in a structured manner, you can just talk about business and explain different concepts. If you cannot talk for an hour about business in a way that is intelligent, then you don't know enough about business, and this is not going to happen for you. You're going to be stuck at this level where you're using AI and its reasoning power within your job because you don't have a business, and within your job you're going to be a big loser because you're going to increase your productivity, but your employer is going to profit from your surplus productivity. You're not going to profit. Now, of course, your boss can give you a small salary increase of 5-10%, and also you get to keep your job because a lot of people will be fired. Like today, I just learned that Tesla fired 6,000 people. So even the smart engineers at Tesla can get fired because they're going to be replaced by AI systems. But anyways, you're going to be stuck here, and this is really the loser. I didn't want to put losers here because it's too offensive, but technically you're going to be a loser because your employer organization will benefit from AI, but you as an employee, you will not benefit. Your family, your children will not benefit because you don't have a business. You don't understand enough about business and AI to strike it out on your own. Now, I'm not saying that employees should quit their job and start an AI startup or create AI products and sell online, but you should at least begin to explore the opportunity, the possibilities. And my advice is that once you start from your AI products and startups, once you start making 30% of your income right now that you're making through your job, then you can consider whether you should quit your job. But the great news is that you can keep your job for mortgage purposes, for example, and on the side in the evening you can have fun with AI, and with your friends you can create an AI startup or AI products that you can sell to the world. That's very possible. I should probably create a workshop on that. But anyways, friends, I've been talking for 40 minutes. I'm trying to teach you everything that I know about AI since I began my research around 2016, and already in 2017 I was teaching email marketing for the first time. 2017 January. I was telling students, my students will remember this. I was telling them that AI is going to be big. You should get into it. But of course, at the time, I had no idea that ChatGPT would come around. So I was doing research on AI, and in 2018, I gave a keynote at Concordia because I really believe that people are behind and not prepared. And you can check out the AI keynote slides in the show notes. But that's 6 years ago. Today, I feel that most people are hopelessly behind. This is why I feel it's a matter of urgency for me to create these videos where I talk about AI and how it's developing, because only 4% of companies out there, I don't know in which country, probably the US, but the US is very fast in innovation and adoption of new technologies. And even companies in the US, only 4% have adopted AI as part of their operations. So, they're behind. So I think that people are even more behind. So, if you've watched this video, and you should really take notes because that's how you learn, then you are ahead of at least 4% of the people. And you can turn around and you can talk to your friends, your family, your coworkers, your LinkedIn connections about this, and be a leader and help them. And as you explain what I've explained to you in this video, it's going to become more clear to you that this is where you should be going. Once again, I'm not dismissing the Bitcoin investors, all the investors out there who are making a killing from NASDAQ, from the stock market. It's great for them. I'm happy for them. But if you don't have, and this is a lot of people, if you don't have enough money to invest and have the money work for you in the long term, then you should be here. This is the revenge of the middle class. It's the revenge of poor people. And I say revenge because it's not revenge against the 1%. I have nothing against rich people, because I think most of them worked really hard and they took big risks to become rich. So I have nothing against the 1%. But instead of occupying Wall Street, you should occupy the internet. You should occupy the internet by filling it with products and services and companies that you create through AI. That's why I call this The Revenge of the Poor. That sounds like a great book, by the way. The Revenge of the Poor. And even if you're making $80,000 a year, you are poor because you don't have your freedom. I got my freedom in June 2000 when I decided, you know what, I'm too smart for the corporate world, for corporate Canada. I'm out of here. But my problem is that I had to survive financially on my own, as a freelancer, as a translator, and I started a few startups that were successful on the product front, but not successful financially. But, I had to really struggle after I quit corporate America. But I think that today, if you are young and if you're dynamic and you learn about AI, it's not going to be hard to, start out as an entrepreneur and forget about the corporate world. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, please share it with your friends, your family. This is probably the most articulate and useful video on AI, because I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to help people by sharing everything that I know, and this is the future. And I have 95% confidence that this is going to happen. AI agents in 2025. I'm going to have to translate this video into multiple languages, but I really want to help my Facebook friends, because nobody's talking about AI in my Facebook network. Nobody's talking about AI on LinkedIn. Well, some people, but they're not talking about AI like on YouTube also. They're talking about AGI. Who cares? It's not your concern. AGI is way above your and my pay grade. They talk about existential risk. Who cares? Elon Musk has to take care of that, right? That's his level of play. People talk about investment in startups. I mean, you got to focus. Warren Buffett taught me that you got to focus on information that is important to you. This is information that is important to you and your friends and your family. You have to understand this. And you have to focus on information that is knowable. We can know this. This has been proven. Everyone is saying that AI agents are coming. I mean, all the top experts are not lying, and they're putting their reputation on the line by forecasting the emergence of AI agents in 2025. So you can bet that it's going to happen. And so Warren Buffett taught me that, you got to focus on information that is important to you, that can actually impact your goal achievement, and information that is knowable. Everything they say about AGI and about existential risk, it's not knowable, it's not provable, and therefore we have to wait for more evidence. But in the meantime, if you focus your time and energy on information that is knowable and that is important for you personally as an individual to know, then you're going to become phenomenally rich. That's not a promise, because it depends a great deal on your hard work, your ingenuity, creativity, but you have a shot at becoming a millionaire or multimillionaire. And a few people I know have a shot at becoming billionaires. But you got to start taking action today. And this video, congratulations to you. You spent the last 45 minutes trying to understand what I'm saying. And you can ask me all your questions. I'm available to answer all your questions by email. You're taking the right step to understand this technical area, and you can share it with your friends and family. And if it's the first time that your friends and family hear about this kind of discussion, then you will have done a great service to them, because this kind of information is nowhere online. People talk about Bitcoin, they talk about AGI, they talk about all the usual suspects. It's sensational, but it's not useful. It's not going to help you to become rich. And it's not even about wealth. For me, it's about freedom. So I have financial freedom because I know how to structure my financial affairs. So I don't have to work for anybody. I don't have to answer to any boss. I can work anytime I want. There's no ceiling on how much money I'm making. And that's what I want for you and your family and your friends. So please join my Facebook page, and I'm going to show all the links to all the groups that you can join, because I'm teaching AI from different perspectives for different types of people, and I look forward to be of service to you. So thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you in the next video.